Yesterday, a huge earthquake struck a town near Mexico City, and unfortunately today, the number of individuals who were found dead increased. The last time we reported this story, the death toll was up to 100 people. Now, unfortunately, it has more than doubled to 225 people. Authorities are expected to find more dead bodies as they try to recover bodies from underneath rubble. Now, the 7.1 magnitude quake turned dozens of buildings in central Mexico into dust and debris, killing at least 225 people. It occurred at a depth of 32 miles, which experts consider to be shallow and thus more destructive. So the more shallow it is, the more damage it's likely to cause, the more deaths are likely to result from this earthquake. 25 bodies, 21 of them children, were found in the debris of the Enrique Robsamen School in Mexico City's Coapa district. So there are schools that not only faced a significant amount of damage, but had students in them, meaning that kids died as a result of this earthquake as well. More than 2,000 public schools suffered damage in the quake, and less than 2 weeks ago, a magnitude 8.1 earthquake struck off Mexico's southern coast, killing at least 90 people. Now, the earthquake that struck yesterday happened on the same day. It was the 32nd anniversary of a giant earthquake that struck the same area in 1985. And the fact that this latest earthquake fell on the same day is crazy. And anyone who knows anything about earthquakes, you can't really predict them.
No. However, there is an unintentional, slight positive thing that had happened on this day in particular. And I talked to Jaime and a bunch of people that are on the ground before coming on the show today. And what they were telling me is that every single year, because that earthquake was so devastating, they will have earthquake drills. Yeah. And on that day, right before the earthquake struck, 2 hours before actually, they had done an earthquake drill. So it was fresh on their minds. So that's the reason why a lot of that damage could have, like human lives were mitigated in some capacity. And another reason why 200 people is a lot of people, of course, and this is devastating. It's terrible. But in comparison to the 32 years ago, the earthquake that happened 32 years ago, where 10,000 people died and also 5,000 people could not be found within the rubble, they say that the numbers are slated to go all the way up to 1,000. But again, because Mexico City's been impacted before, they were ready for it. Obviously, they changed the code and regulation around how these buildings should be built. And the buildings that crumbled and fell were mostly had structural damage from the previous earthquakes and older buildings. And
that just speaks to the importance of regulation. And I'm not talking about over-regulating things, but building regulation to mitigate the potential damage and destruction of natural disasters makes a lot of sense. And when Hurricane Harvey struck, there was quite a bit of criticism in regard to new developments that didn't take regulations into consideration, and as a result, led to more damage that put more people in harm's way.
Right. A lot of that had to do with where they were building.
Right.
In addition to how they were building, but where they were building, a lot of what's necessary in a floodplain is for you to have natural areas where all that water can go. But with an increased housing demand, as the economics of the area boomed, they kind of changed, they shuffled around their priorities, and it ended up putting a lot of concrete down instead of natural waste areas where they could channel all the water. Mexico City is an interesting situation because not only is the shallow depth of this earthquake important because it increases the amount of damage that it creates, but it also increases the likelihood for there to be aftershocks. And you and I kind of spoke about this yesterday. One of the psychological tolls of an earthquake like this, in addition to it just like being you reliving that moment over and over again in your head, is that you have to relive it, albeit a little bit less intensely, in the aftershocks that follow. And if you go on Snapchat, this is actually these are some flat bottom boats in some of the areas in the canals that have been there for a very long time that you just see. I mean, this is the initial earthquake. Since then, there have been many, many aftershocks. And one place you can actually check that out is Snapchat has this map feature that you can go into, and you can see people updating, and you see both the devastation, but you also really can see people uniting. It was interesting when it happened yesterday. You could see if you remember the Occupy Wall Street movement, they had, people did that, the people's megaphone, right? In the streets, just to get people to be quiet, everyone was raising their hands. And if everyone had their hands up, you had to be quiet to command the silence for the person who was giving orders on what they needed to do to clear out the rubble.
And also to hear people, and also not to smoke either, because there were gas leaks all over the areas too.
Yeah.
God, it's so terrifying.
And this stuff just happens. You see it in the middle of the day, people who are ready and have seen so much devastation already. You'll see there will be an earthquake, and not only that, people will run out into the streets because you just never know. And especially at this point, it's just like, let's get the hell out of these houses. Because with each additional earthquake, you've seen that there have been additional failures of certain structures, and they've fallen. And it's really, really traumatizing.
Absolutely.
But it seems like people are uniting and coming together.
That's actually interesting though. On a positive note, at least like the Red Cross has even put out a statement that there are too many people in Mexico City that want to help. And what I found out from some people that are on the ground right now is that Xochimilco and Morelos have more need for rescue workers. So a lot of people are shifting their attention over there, but Mexico City currently is overpopulated with the amount of people that are trying to help out.
Right, there were officials who actually said that it's so overpopulated right now and so full of people who are trying to help, which of course they have the best intentions in mind. It's starting to kind of get in the way of professionals trying to respond to this disaster. So, pay close attention. If you are in the area, pay close attention to what the officials are saying, cooperate with them, and lend a helping hand in a way that's beneficial, because Mexico certainly needs it now.
If you like this video, you probably like independent media. The best way to support independent media, become a member of the Young Turks. TYTnetwork.com/join.